I'm the announcement girl. Welcome to Mile High Church. Thank you for spending a part of your weekend with us, especially if you're new. Our vision, Oneness Revealed, a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. Our mission, to serve as a spiritual beacon for personal empowerment and global enlightenment. Before we get started today, we want to give you a look at a few things coming up around Mile High Church for you and your family. Did you buy your ticket yet? On November 1st, psychologist and emotion scientist consultant for Pixar's Inside Out, Dacher Keltner, shares his research on why we need more awe in our lives and how we can harness its power. And buy a pumpkin this month and help turn pumpkins into homes. All proceeds benefit Habitat for Humanity. Insert Fall Fest video.
Oh boy. Okay. Here we go with the Fall Fest video. Here we go. Fall Fest is an event that happens every year here at Mile High Church. It's like a Halloween type of thing with candy, and they dress up the cars. And there's like games and like popcorn and kids. And it's a cool place to celebrate the season. Look at all those pumpkins. Beetlejuice. Y también puedes celebrar Día de los Muertos. Oh, and here's the slide with all the information. Look at all that cool info. So it's just a fun time. Bring your family, bring your friends, bring friendlies peoples. And that's the Fall Fest video. See you there.
For more information on anything you've heard today, stop by the event center or visit us at milehighchurch.org. Or just check Instagram like a normal person.
Man, aren't they doing a great job with the announcements? I think that's pretty awesome. Well, thank you for coming to Mile High. Today, guess what? We have an amazing guest artist who's been here before. She was here last April. Amy Bishop is here with us today. She's incredible. She comes all the way from Calgary, Alberta. She tells me that's the Denver of Alberta, right? And she's an amazing New Thought singer-songwriter, and she sings all the time in Canada. She has a church of her own there where she's the MD, and she sings all the time. But we're lucky to have her with us today. Please welcome Amy Bishop.
Lies lying on Capitol Hill, big pharma flogging more pills, more numbers showing up on my bill. Some suit on the TV tell me how to feel. Cut you off on the highway, break them down like a road rage. Get your camera ready, then put them on blast on your Facebook page. Is this the world we're living in? 'Cause it sure don't feel like living. Guaranteed with a little bit of luck, a little more faith, and a lot less fuss, we can do much more than survive. All we need is a little more love, a little more trust, and some pixie dust. None of us is getting out alive. Love, trust, and pixie dust. Love, trust, and pixie dust. Woo! Haters hate, make you question yourself. 00 is a size now. Everybody got something to sell. Even Big Brother sending ads to my email. Buy a bottle in the hot sun. Throw it out as soon as you're done. When the hell we gonna wake up? We got a plastic Texas floating in the ocean. Is this the world we're living in? 'Cause it sure don't feel like living. Guaranteed with a little bit of luck, little more faith, lot less fuss. We can do much more than survive. All we need is a little more love, a little more trust, and some pixie dust. None of us is getting out alive. Love, trust, and pixie dust. Love, trust, and pixie dust. faith and a lot less fuss. We can do much more than survive. All we need, little more love, little more trust and some pixie dust. None of us is getting out of love. Love, trust, and pixie dust. Love, trust, and pixie dust. Love, trust, and pixie dust. Pixie dust. Love, trust, and pixie dust.
Amy Bishop, everyone, Mile High Band, thank you so much. Welcome to the Calgary of Colorado. We're glad you're here. Glad you drove out. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Mile High Church. Greetings to everyone watching online as well. It's October at Mile High Church, which for us means a special series. We always call it Adventure in Faith. And so we're on a faith adventure through 4 weeks together. Our theme is finding oneness in an ocean of uncertainty. And a couple of special things that happen with Adventures in Faith is we have a landing page on our website, and there you'll find some materials that you can go deeper with, and you can even take another step and you can sign up to join a small group for absolutely free that meets in person here or online. So you can even do that on your phones here, or if you wanted to join a group today, you could sign up at the event center and walk right over, and Dodie Jackson and Justina Walls are both leading great groups over there. So we invite you to go in deeper with us this October, and we're so glad you're here. If you're new to Mile High Church, we are an inclusive community filled with people committed to living their best lives in awareness of a sacred presence that guides us, that uplifts us, and inspires us. We love to recite our vision and mission each week. They're coming up on the screens. If you want to say them along with me, they go like this. Our vision, oneness revealed, a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. And our mission, to serve as a spiritual beacon for personal empowerment and global enlightenment. So with that, we'll now move into our time of shared spiritual practice, some song, some silence, and a prayer from our beloved Dr. Patty Lukenbach.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel
I'm ever so grateful for the stillness, for the times of silence, for it has a way of opening our senses, calming the senses, but opening them to recognize that the only one present within you, within me, within this incredible spiritual community is the infinite, almighty God, that precious, precious life that is in and through all things. Oh, the colors of the season, the tiniest creatures, the grandest. We are one. We are one in that light of love. And love is the very action of God, the very action of Spirit itself. So recognizing that I always like to remind myself that God has 101 different names. But the very action of God, of that divine Spirit, is love itself. So this day, in this moment, each one of us, we have been given a presence. We're asked to unwrap that presence to find that light of love within ourselves. In this moment, it's always been there, and it always will be. So from this place of light, the place of intenseness of love, that great cosmic compassion that gives to us the understanding of the lack of understanding at times, but it's always present for us. I celebrate this absolute seamless union. And so what I declare in this prayer today is from this place of seamless union with the divine, the very breath breathing us, gives to us that greater awareness to be able to bless ourselves and to bless our neighbors and to offer blessings to those who have been challenged, blessings for the Far East. And that love, throughout centuries of time, love can be recognized. For when there's conflict, it's just a choice not to love. Allow love to be. And for these blessed United States of America, to remember the love, to stand in the grace and the light of that. So I bless all walks of faith, wherever they have gathered to pray, whether in synagogues, temples, wherever that might be. Perhaps they have gathered in a circle to pray. Perhaps they've taken flight as the highest eagle looking back down upon earth, recognizing the beauty of it. So with thanksgiving filling our hearts, let us now just release and move into this service, blessing Reverend Josh and all the sharing that takes place here today. I know these words release to that law, which is a pattern. That law, that love intelligence, is the alchemy that takes these words and brings forth manifestation now and forevermore. And so it is. Amen.
Love, reflecting love, one with the divine, peace expressing heaven bright, light reflecting light. Love, reflecting love, I'm one with the divine. I am peace expressing heaven bright. I am light reflecting light. I am love reflecting love. I am one with the divine. light.
For our Adventures in Faith theme this year, Relevant Faith, Finding Oneness in an Ocean of Uncertainty, our committee selected nautical symbols that relate to faith and our ability to navigate the waters of life with vulnerability, guidance, stability, wisdom, and discernment.
With faith, we stay the course to navigate through the storms of our lives and to ultimately expand our awareness and practice to touch, to feel, to embody, and to know the deeper and truer waters of spirit.
This week, we consider the symbol of the lifesaver, which symbolizes salvation, safety, and protection. Spiritually, it represents the idea of being saved or rescued from difficulties, reminding us of the importance of hope and faith in times of crisis.
The faith represented by the lifesaver is in and of our own volition to take charge of our lives and perspectives, to reach out, to reach in, and to realize that it is up to each one of us to grab the lifesavers that are presented to us by life and by God.
This week, as we move into considering transformational vulnerability, we invite you to consider what spiritual practices in your life serve as your lifesavers of a deeper sense of feeling safe and protected in your relationship with the divine.
I always wish that I was cooler, that I didn't samba to the beat of my own heart. With the girls I worshiped back when I was a high schooler, a thin-a-thighed, higher cheekbone work of art, constantly worrying what people thought about me, and somehow scared that they don't think of me at all. Happy to hover on the outskirts or boundary, just let me hang around, I promise to stay small. But I don't fit inside a box. I'll never fit inside a box. Round peg, square hole, I'm not your average Barbie doll. I don't fit inside a box. Not one size fits all. Oh, Always dreaming to be bolder, brighter, better, 'cause life is so much easier on the other side. But if I could write the 13-year-old me a letter, I'd say love yourself before the best of you has died. And maybe I could open up and show you all my devils, but you really see what lives under this skin. But I'm horrified on way too many levels just to even think of letting someone in, 'cause I don't fit inside a box. I'll never fit inside a box. Round peg, square hole, I'm not your average Barbie doll. I don't fit inside a box. Not one size fits all.
Amy Bishop. Meet her after service, those who are here, or you can find her online. Beautiful music. What a beautiful song you wrote and just shared with us. Thank you so much, Amy. The band is looking particularly suave today. Thank you, Bijou, Mike, Stu, Rob. These weeks in October are always fun for me because they're not created by an individual, like this sermon, for example, but it's kind of a shared deal with our Adventures in Faith committee. So I just want to acknowledge each of them. I want to thank Dick Koken, Kate Ripp, Kristen Roberts, Zamira Jezwerska, Judy Turner, and Dana Weddle. Judy and Dana, we just heard from today. And our marketing and graphics team do such a wonderful job here. I'm so grateful to Sarah Shin, Lindsay Portocazo, Eva Temke, and Lana Fujimoto. Thank you to them. You may have noticed those who are in the sanctuary today, our graphics team, especially Lindsay, worked really hard to create this awe-inspiring experience when you walk into the sanctuary in celebration of our Dacker Keltner event coming up November 1st. Creating awe, that's over 8,000 pieces of paper around that Vesta board that created that awe moment for you when you came in here today. And that's going to be a great event to attend on November 1st, so please join us for that. If you were to meet someone with unshakable faith, a unshakable faith that had absolute conviction that our country was on the right track, that had absolute conviction that our children will create a better environment and economic opportunities than we inherited when we were young, an unshakable faith that people in the world overall were choosing unity over division, choosing interfaith inclusivity as opposed to religious exclusivism, choosing oneness over othering. If you met someone with such unshakable faith, would you be impressed? Yes. Yeah, I would too. Would part of you think that they were perhaps a little naive? Or perhaps they may seem a little out of touch with reality. Oh, I like that. The kids are getting in on this one too. You know, our founder said something. He said, "Our thinking doesn't change reality at all. Some people think it does, but it never flattened the world when they thought it was flat. It only flattened their experience on a round one. When someone knew it was round, he could navigate it." And as religious scientists, our denomination here, it's so important. It's almost like a sacred duty for us to hold a high consciousness for our country, to hold an optimistic viewpoint for our world, to represent oneness and unity even in the midst of division. We can get so lost. But it's also important for us to see what's real, to see what's really happening, from time to time to step back and see where we are. Kurt Vonnegut alluded to the point that if you're going the wrong direction, to step back is to take a step in the right direction. In this topic of relevant faith that we're entering into this month, it's interesting to say that an unshakable faith has an absolute conviction that God is in all circumstances working towards the highest and best in all things. Totally admirable. A shakeable faith, we might say, has room for doubt, for skepticism, perhaps even a little bit of anxiety and uncertainty. And one of the things I want to point out today is when it comes to relevant faith, it's the latter that we may need more of. That perhaps a little bit more doubt could strengthen our faith. That perhaps to be a little anxious by looking around at the world around you is understandable. To be in a time of uncertainty, perhaps it isn't best to make up a reality or manufacture something superficial, but to really look, to really listen, not only at the state of things around us, but in our own everyday lives. And I think that's the first key to a relevant faith, is to live not outside of reality, but in reality. We might also say that the second key to a relevant faith is to recognize that a relevant faith isn't something that's fixed. It's something that's fluid, that can expand and contract at different times in our lives. We might say that a certain pessimism is the opposite of an unshakable faith. But if we're not careful, I think they're just two sides of the same coin. We may know someone with unshakable faith, but how many of us know someone who's a certain pessimist? Their theme song is AC/DC's Highway to Hell, and there's a lot to burn on the way there, right? They have absolute certainty that our institutions in the United States are broken and cannot be fixed. They have absolutely certainty that no, our kids will not inherit a cleaner environment or better economic conditions, and you know what? The little brats probably don't deserve it anyways. They have absolute faith in their pessimism, that nothing is going to work out. Artificial intelligence, take me now. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. And we may know a certain pessimist, but I think the truth is it doesn't take much to get any of us there, even if just for a little while. You start thinking about that candidate who you don't want to win office, and you go there. Something doesn't go your way, and you go there. Traffic when you didn't expect it, and you can go there. That certain pessimism. And this idea of relevant faith, it's somewhere in between this unshakable faith and this pessimism, where we begin to take sometimes contradictory realities and bring them together. I trust absolutely that there's a divine presence in, through, and around everything, and I also trust that I better pay attention to the problems and the challenges that are facing me, my country, and the world. Because if not, I'm living in my version of reality and not in the one that life is calling me to step into with greater clarity and knowing. Richard Feynman, the great scientist, tells a story of being a young man, and he was out on a nature walk with a friend, and his friend, who was a little cocky, he said, "Hey, you see that bird over there? Do you know the name of that bird?" And young Richard answered, "I have no idea what that bird is." "Doesn't your father teach you anything?" "It's a Spencer's warbler." And Richard shares, but it was opposite. His father had taught me. "See that bird?" His father had told Richard, "It's a Spencer's warbler." "Well, in Italian, it's a chudo lapidida. In Portuguese, it's a bam da peida. In Chinese, it's a chung long ta. And in Japanese, it's a katano takeda. You can know the name of that bird in all the languages of the world, but when you're finished, you'll know absolutely nothing whatever about the bird. You'll only know what humans in different places and what they call the bird. So let's look at the bird and see what it's doing. That's what counts." I would say this applies to spirituality, that we can study all those 101 names of God that Patty was alluding to in her beautiful prayer and still know nothing about God. We'll know a lot about what people say about God, but we may miss it out completely if we're not willing to look directly into our lives with confidence or with doubt and open up to that deeper experience. What does it mean to stop naming your life? Good, bad, crappy, indifferent, whatever it is. What does it mean to just stop naming it and listen for what it does and what it reveals to us about what our faith actually and really is? This leads to the core of the message today, the third key to a relevant faith, which is a transformational vulnerability. The willingness to be totally present in this vast mystery called life, and to open up to see not what faith can be invented, but what kind of faith can be revealed. The most difficult day of my ministerial career was on October 12th, 2011. I was the senior minister of the Seal Beach Center for Spiritual Living in Orange County, California. I was sitting on a bench outside talking with my board president, and not 50 yards away began the gunshots that would ultimately lead to 8 people losing their lives and the greatest mass shooting in Orange County history. It was a terrible day. And you want to do everything you can to help in the light of that tragedy. And thank God the police were on the scene like that and captured the perpetrator. And our church, just for a short time, just for a couple hours, got to bring in the family members of these victims who, when there's a crime scene investigations unit on the scene, they have to do their work for hours and hours. And here are these people sitting there waiting to get the official word on what they already know, that their loved one has been viciously, terribly taken from them and from the world by a wretched act of violence of a deeply disturbed and demented human being. And you're there trying to bring water to these people. You're there wanting to be present. And to be totally authentically honest, I prayed they wouldn't ask me for prayer. Because part of prayer is to be able to acknowledge God in any instance or any circumstance. And in that moment, through my experience of that day, I saw none. And yet, my prayer, handing a bottle of water, putting a hand on the shoulder, avoiding saying things like, it's going to be okay, when in that moment it is anything but okay. But my prayer was, God, I cannot see you in this event, but please show up in our response. Please show up in how we respond to these individuals who've been so victimized this day. Please show up in the response of the police officers and the civic leaders. Please show up in the community. And that's sometimes what a transformational vulnerability is. It's showing up transparent in your life, not knowing exactly how the divine or life or whatever you call it is going to show up, but to be prepared for it, even if it only shows up through you, through how you show up for other people. And as little as I experienced the divine in that tragic event, I can say with some genuine honesty that I perhaps never experienced God so much as I did on that day when it came to how people responded. Immediate remembering of hope in the face of despair, an immediate expression of love in the midst of such tragic fear, a sense of oneness and unity when someone would behave with such little appreciation for human dignity or life itself. It was a wretched but then a beautiful experience. And sometimes, to be frank, life can be in some moments like a nightmare, shattered by grace. It can be like a nightmare that's shattered by grace. In the midst of the loss of someone we love, a devastating change to a health condition, a challenge that we see, or a tragedy that we see in the world, life can be a nightmare that gets shattered by grace, shatters of remembrance, of beauty, of love, of truth, even when we can't see it. It speaks, of course, to the famous lines of Leonard Cohen in his song Anthem, where he sings, "Ring the bells that still can ring, forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in." The danger of an unshakable faith is it doesn't always leave room for the cracks. We never have to give thanks for our wounds or what put them there, but we can give thanks for what they can offer us, the light that can shine through those wounds, the clarity and wholeness that can come from an experience of brokenness, the guide or the principle or the new self that is born as us, even in the midst of the loss of someone or something we dearly love. There is that light that can only come through when our faith is relevant enough to be true to our experience and yet true to that divine thread, that divine spirit that works within it, to come forward in an incredibly powerful way. So perhaps the next time you are experiencing an incredible doubt, maybe it's simply a sign that your faith is being reborn. Not that there's anything wrong with your faith, but that it's being called to a newfound experience of God, to a newfound experience of what you're capable of, to a newfound experience of what humanity can look like when expressed vulnerably with one another. I was having a lunch with a good friend, Joni Inman, a few weeks ago. Joni sadly lost her daughter this year, and she was sharing with me that Dr. Patty, our beloved Dr. Patty, called her one night. And what did Patty say? She could have said, and it could have been true, but she didn't say, everything's going to be okay. God is right there. I'm so sorry for your loss. All Patty said was, I just called to cry with you. I just called today to cry with you. What a beautiful expression to me of a transformational vulnerability. To realize that God in that moment maybe couldn't be understood, but could be best expressed by two loving people sharing tears over a phone call with one another. When we're willing to embrace transparent and transformational vulnerability, we can bring a newfound creative element to our life. If you look through our Adventure in Faith materials this week or go to our landing page, you'll see there's a worksheet there that speaks about the transformational qualities of a relevant faith. They're qualities that on the surface we may look at and see as flawed. Vulnerability, that could mean defenselessness. Surrendering, giving up. Forgetting, got to remember everything. Leaving, no, you got to stick with it. Not knowing, no, I got to know. I got to be wise and understand. And yet, if we can sometimes embrace these qualities in our lives, they have a transformative ability to bring forth what our life is calling for: to heal, to be connected, to embrace a greater prosperity and abundance. And I only have time to touch upon vulnerability today, but I ask you, where in your life are you being called to be more vulnerable? It could be, where is that space or circumstance in your life where you're most afraid to be vulnerable? It could be that place where you love most deeply and profoundly. There's an old saying that the truth will set you free, but first it will get you a punch in the nose. And sometimes being vulnerable, sharing a hurt, sharing something that's going to take some boldness or some courage to share, it's scary. And sometimes it may seem like it makes things worse with someone else before it makes things better. But that's where a relevant faith comes in. That even though the immediate consequence is negative, the overall one is merging towards that good, is veering towards greater freedom and greater understanding. Been touched reading the news reports and then watching Netflix. There's a new documentary with Will Ferrell in it called Will and Harper. And the story starts off with Will Ferrell, who's a famous movie star and was in Saturday Night Live. And he had a best friend named Andrew Steele, who was a writer, not in front of the camera, but behind the camera at SNL. And they became creative partners and did so much wonderful work together. And they disconnected a little bit during pandemic times, like so many of us did. And he received an email from Andrew, who is now named Harper. And the email explained that Harper now identified as a female. And if you could, kind of support me, she says, as well. What a courageous act of transformational vulnerability to, even in an email, which can be a superficial form of communication, to share one's heart, to share one's truth, Farrell, like many people in Harper's life, may have initially sensed a sense of betrayal. How come you didn't tell me sooner? Only to understand and ask questions to realize that Harper, her whole life, had been betraying herself to a degree and was now coming forward to embrace who she authentically was with the people that she loved. It reminds me a little bit of Carl Rogers, and I'm paraphrasing it, but he said, that thing in you that you're most afraid to share, that thing in you that you might share, that if you shared it, you might be excommunicated or made fun of or rejected, that thing in you, if you were to actually share it, would be the one thing that most resonated with and inspired other people. What an interesting principle of life, that what is most personal is most universal. And that if we can find and articulate maybe something we haven't even been able to put words to within ourselves and articulate them in the safest possible places with people we love and care about, we could grow and we could create greater healing and we could release the elephants in the room and embrace a greater harmonic space that resonates with our body, our minds, and our souls. That's the power of what a transformational vulnerability can do. So I invite you to be aware of where you might bring that greater sense of vulnerability to your life, what the area is, what the circumstance is. There's only a couple thousand people watching, but does anyone want to say where it is for them? Good, David, good. Yes, great. Great. Life's calling for it, and if we were just waiting around for God to show up, she may not arrive. But if you're willing to be a presence for the divine to show up through this skill of transformational vulnerability, you can offer something, a vitamin C for a circumstance, a understanding of someone where they've never felt that understood before, and a way of becoming who you really are in a way that your life is calling for and needing you to be. So with that, as we move into prayer this morning, I invite any of our incredible prayer practitioners to stand and join me. Know that here in this Teal Sanctuary, these incredible folks are available for an affirmative prayer in front of the stage. And let us be aware of those solid places within us that give us inspiration and life and gratitude. But let us not turn away from those places where we may experience some weakness, some woundedness, some unresolved hurt, where we may feel not in the midst of knowing, but in the darkness of not knowing what is or how something's going to turn out. And let us recognize that we meet our God in both places. We meet the divine in those areas that are strong, that have been nurtured, that help us to thrive, but also as we bring a light of grander awareness to those weak places, to those tender spots, to those places that perhaps have experienced a shattering of grace here or there. Let us know that there is wisdom and depth, a divine beauty of who we are, not in what caused those wounds or weaknesses, but in what we get to bring forth in spite of them. Knowing that the divine speaks through all things, that God speaks up itself without coercion or even invocation. If we just listen, embody, and embrace that we walk this path of life not alone, but hand in hand with the infinite. That it is friendly, that it is familiar, that it is the divine memory of all being and becoming within us, becoming something unique and fantastic as you and your life, right here and right now. And so it is.
We are one ocean. The waves roll on and never stop. We are one ocean. And the ocean is in every drop. We are one ocean. The waves roll on and never stop. We are one ocean. And the ocean is in every drop, in every drop.
Thank you, Tom. Singing the brilliant Barry Ebert, who's with us with his lovely wife Stephanie in the back there. How about that Otani there, Ebert? As we move into our time of offering, thank you for joining us here in the Teal Sanctuary and online. October this year is also going to mark our pledge campaign. Our pledge campaign is going to run through October 1st through the end of this month, and that's it. And what I'm asking you to do is to take these cards that came in the bulletins here today, or there's a heading on the top of our website at milehighchurch.org that will take you to the pledge card. And I just invite you to think, you probably already give to Mile High. Thank you so much. If you could just take a moment and estimate what your monthly giving might be in 2025 and write it down. It's not a bill. It's not a sworn promise. It's an intention. And if you can turn that pledge into the offering plate or outside or fill it out online, what it's going to help us do is not only open up to what Spirit's vision is for our church, but what our budget's vision is for our church as well. The gifts that you give go into our Mile High Church Fund, and it's going to let us know, are we going to be able to hire a new minister next year? Or are we going to be able to give increases to our staff? Are we going to be able to renovate our vote center, whatever it may be? So your intentions add up in an incredible way that are going to help us articulate what needs in our vision we're going to be able to accomplish in 2025. So thank you in advance for doing that. If not today, sometime this month. As part of the pledge campaign, we've invited some folks to share just a couple minutes about the impact that Mile High Church has had on their lives. And I'm going to begin by inviting one of our favorite Mile Highers. His name is Jim Weiss, and he's going to share about the impact that Mile High has had on him. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Josh. I can take so much time to share what this community has given to me. And what I absolutely know is I can't give back enough, not in my financial contributions or just in service. But what this community has given me is a new sense of self. When I walked in, I didn't know who I was. I was dazed. I was confused. I had no vision for a future farther than my hand. And it taught me that I am not the person I thought I was. It taught me that I'm not the thoughts in my head. It taught me that I have choice. I have choice to live in my past, in my hurts, my woundings, my past humanness, or I can be the man that I'm supposed to be today. And it's been ongoing for almost 20 years, and I still haven't mastered it, but the gift I get is I get to continue to work on me, and I get to come here every Sunday. What I've gotten from this church is a sense of love. I didn't know what love was, didn't have those experiences. I had no knowledge, I had no expectation of what love was. And this community and everybody in it taught me what love is, what connection is, what heart is. It taught me I'm so much better than I ever believed I was. It taught me to believe, taught me to have faith in myself, in my fellow man, in this planet we live on, in that something greater that I call spirit. And here's the greatest thing I got from this community. I'm looking at it. Each and every one of you, everybody that I have sat next to, talked to, hugged, shook hands, or just had a conversation with, is shaped to who I am today. Because every one of those was from love. And that is something that I can never put value on. The last thing I got from this community and from my time here at Mile High Church gratitude that couldn't fill this sanctuary. I walk in gratitude. I think of gratitude. I come from a place of love. I come from a place of gratitude. And that, I thank every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. And I think for some of us, spiritual community is how we learn to let that love in. We allow ourselves to be seen in a sacred place, and then we give back. And when I think of Jim, he's the epitome of service within Mile High Church. He's just part of that unique group of people who've been served by the community. They're committed to living whole lives. And then by being of service here, they help make sure that anyone who walks into our church is seen, recognized, and they hold that vision for all of us, even when we're not feeling so whole, that it's there to step back into an incredible way. So I'm so grateful to you, Jim, and to all of our volunteers. Thank you for your sharing. Thank you for filling out a pledge card. Jim, will you lead us in our offering blessing today?
I'd be honored. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is.
My voice it soars, but will I speak up? My eyes do see, but will I look? These boots do walk, but will they show up? Gotta give up my people-pleasing ways, share the lies of yesterday, yeah. These hands are strong, but will they break through the well-laid balls of doubt and shame? My heart's been drenched in brick and mortar, but I brought the wall into the world and I can tear it down. So watch out, I am done with hiding. I'm through stumbling around. Wake up, time has come for me to know it only love that speak and show it. Unstoppable, blue eyes that see the haze that's lifted. This pounding heart won't be contained. And I can hear the faintest whisper, rumbling, rising, thumping, driving. Well, my soul, I gotta sing. Watch out, I am done with hiding. I'm through stumbling around. Wake up, time has come for me to know it only love is speak and show it. Unstoppable, playing hide and seek. With all my secret dreams, I can keep them locked inside of me, or I can choose to live them out, or I can choose to live unstoppable. I am whatever I say I am. I'm through stomping around. Wake up, time has come for me to wake up. Better believe I'm gonna wake up. Time has come for me to know and only love and speak and show it. Born and see it, work and take it, do it. Leave it, live it, think it, see it, be it. Unstoppable.
All right, Amy Bishop, what a gift from Canada, hey? And she has CDs out in the lobby today. You can take her music home with you if you'd like, right out there in the lobby. And you can go to amybishopmusic.ca, right? She's from Canada, so that's a different number than we're used to in our websites, a different lettering. So remember, amybishopmusic.ca if you'd like to download her music. And we're so grateful for you being here with us. Wonderful, wonderful gift. And I just want to speak again to those of you who are brand new to Mile High Church, whether it's your first day today or you've been coming for a few weeks. We know that a big crowd like this can be difficult to find your way and make connections, and people may not even know you're brand new today, which may be good news for you because they don't talk with you. But if you would like to get connected in the community, we strongly encourage you to make a little trip over to our Welcome Center right in the center of the lobby. We have wonderful volunteers there who can answer questions for you and support you in your journey to get to know people. And I would say just ask anybody in the lobby anything you need to ask. We're all very friendly, right? I'm putting you all on notice. You're going to answer any question that a newcomer asks you, right? I can count on you for that. Okay, good. So welcome. We hope you come back many times.
Thank you, Michelle. We've got some great things going on, including today, after services today, we're going to have a nice drum circle out there on the Labyrinth. Thanks, Gregory Merritt, for putting that together. And then it's the inaugural day of our returned men's group, fellas. So 11:30 a.m. in the community center. Thank you so much to Brian Self and Mitch Nicholas for putting that together for us. So just show up. It should be a great time. Pet loss workshop is coming up as well. Losing a pet is like losing a member of your family, as we all know, and there's support for you here at Mile High Church. So please consider signing up for that. And Zamira, what's going on Wednesday?
We have an Interfaith Kirtan this Wednesday. I hope you'll consider joining us. We're having Tom Furman back. If you're familiar, he brought Kirtan to Mile High for several years. And if you just want to come and bask in the energy of chanting, or if you want to chant right along, we hope you'll join us Wednesday night in the Vote from 7 to 9. Doors open at 6:30.
Thank you. With that, if you'd like to stand and repeat after me, we'll say a benediction before our peace song. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind, body, and all that I do. I give thanks for it, and I accept it. Just the way that it is, and just the way that it is not. Thank you, life.